Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, Wuthering Waves put out a bit of a cinematic trailer previewing Xuanfang, you know, the new region. Is it Mengzhou? Who actually knows? I feel like Xuanfang and Mengzhou are kind of like the same goddamn place at this point, because I have no idea why they're advertising them together if it's not the place that we're going. But yeah, this is what they decided to go ahead and put out. A special record for it. And I know a lot of people might have looked at this at like the first glance, saw like the ending scene over here and thought it was going to be like some crazy cinema shit. It actually was not. However, upon like a deeper review, a second review on my end, kind of like looking through some of the stuff that's going on in here, it's actually very, very, very interesting. And there are some specific dynamics that I want to talk about that I think are really foreshadowing, spoiling, maybe actually leaking a little bit some of the new mechanics that we're going to have moving forward. And I'm going to be honest, they look like some of the most exciting ones yet. And by this, I mean like we might be making our own mechas. Like this might be like Metabots. If you remember that shit from back in the day, like parts and stuff, and you put on like different you'll see what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead, let's get right on into this, and, well, keep that hype going. Alright, nice little intro over here. Alright, so, first things first, I want to focus on this. This region is obviously very, very, very high tech. And the way that I'm going to talk about that and kind of like set it up is by just looking at the most recent trailer that we just had. One of the big things about the design of these new units is that it looks like we're going back to Jinzhou, right? It looks like we're kind of like going back to like high culture, sort of like China. Not really a lot of like tech. You'll notice that a lot of these designs over here, there's almost nothing really like techy about them. Very, very dissimilar to the whole Lahai Roy cast, where like everybody kind of looks like a scientist, a professor, or of course, preppy like Linnae or something like that. And you can see over here, it gets carried forward to pretty much everything. You wouldn't imagine that there's high tech here. However, at the very end of like this reveal, and what we've been seeing throughout is obviously the mechanical bird that's been omnipresent throughout the trailer, and then the Wuthering Wave symbol. This just looks high tech by itself. That's where the kind of like backing comes in, because it's not obvious from the advertisements that we've had thus far. The character designs, and then this trailer over here, they almost seem to be saying completely different things. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to sort of like bridge the gap with what's going on over here. So yeah, that's the mechanical bird, obviously. And this is where you're going to start seeing a lot of comparisons to Arknight's Enfield. But this is the reality. This looks a lot like Wuling. High-tech space China, right? But as we all know, Wuling and Arknight's Enfield are a bunch of bullshit. They're fucking trash. So this is actually going to be high-tech China done correctly. And you can see here, everything's mechanical. And this is like just how like fucking insane the technology in the new region is actually looking. And that's some of the architecture, that's some of the buildings, all of that. And that's going to be the full kind of like overview of the main city. And as you can see, this is the same exact main city that we've been seeing in some of the past cinematic trailers, some of the past animated trailers. This is what it's looking like in that full sort of like 3D rendered glory. And what's obvious, right, is that there's a lot of like misty area down here. I assume you're going to have to find some sort of way to like navigate outside of this area. So this looks like when it comes to the exploration, they're going to have to do something really fucking dynamic. Maybe something about flying. Maybe we got the flying swords, the Wuxia flying swords. Everyone's into that shit, right? There's got to be some way to navigate this. And so exploration in this new area, bro, I've been saying this before. What if they added the Spider-Man grapple? All right, so the Spider-Man grapple or something like that, where you like swing from like pillar to pillar, and that's how you like navigate throughout this this landscape over here. Whatever it is, they're gonna have to think of something super freeform, because it looks like it's a long way down. It looks like it's a long fucking way down, and I assume you're gonna be going from peak to peak to peak. I don't really know how else the exploration is gonna work. So, a lot of stuff to get hyped about right off the rip. And of course, we know that live stream is happening soon. Kuro bundled the official announcement for the live stream, right? Alongside this trailer. And so like I said, they're really setting up some of the hype pretty well with this one, but I can see why some people were disappointed in this at first. You really got to do a bit of like a deep analysis to really see how they're teasing some of the things going on over here. All right, and so this is how you know the exploration's got to be interesting. The way that we transition to this area, right, is that you can see that there's like some interconnected, almost like railways, right? Not necessarily like trains, but I assume you can like hop into one of these and like traverse from island to island, but that can't be the only way, right, that you're able to travel. But it looks like they've got like some sort of like train system going on too. Well, not really train, but it's like little pods, right? So yeah, maybe you're running between the islands. That could be a way to get it done too. And then at the bottom over here, this is like a wuxia trope. If you're aware of this, it's like it shows up a lot in this sort of like Chinese environment. I know a lot of people think, oh shit, this is obviously like Infinity Castle. It's a bit of that, yeah, right? Demon Slayer, Infinity Castle vibes, but it's also like a thing in wuxia stories for like somebody, for like a criminal, right, to get kicked off of a high building and then locked into like a dungeon. That's like their main way of like imprisoning people or things. And so basically down here, I think it's confirmed in lore, they just like throw TDs down here. That's how they get rid of them. They just throw them down the cliff and then like into like this gigantic prison that they have made. And you might be wondering where that's from. It's from like a line in the game. It's from like a line in the game somewhere. I think like some lore guy probably had it in one of his videos, but you can literally see that's what's going on. They're throwing a bunch of Tremor Warriors down here. So there's like 1, 2, 3. So obviously this is a giant prison for TDs, right? Leakers. What do you mean leakers? It's literally in front of your fucking face, bro. Like where do you think they're why do you think they built this, huh? Unk flaming Smack for reacting. Now he's doing it. No, this is what I'm flaming Smack for. So Gotcha Smack, for some reason, like this is just a fun little thing. He reacted to this as well, but he did like some weird shit where it's showing up as like an ad on like other people's videos. So like this, like I've never seen like somebody actually do this before, where they take their own video reacting to something and then like pay money so that YouTube shows it up as like an ad for other people. And like this is how you know I ain't lying. Like straight up, like this is the video and like this is the ad. So like this is just funny because I've never seen somebody do this before, and I think it actually hurts your channel because like yeah, that's the I don't think it worked either. Anyways, and now here, this is where stuff's gonna get really interesting. These echoes, or these TDs, are getting locked into like this prison, right? But then look down here at what they're doing. It's almost like an arena. And what do you see fighting these guys? A bunch of like mechas or like droids, but obviously you can see from like the core in their head, they're powered by Roblox. Or really, not really Roblox, but they're probably powered by whatever the fuck is powering this thing. And so you can imagine that these dudes are actually on our side. They're like from the Xuanfang, the Mengzhou faction. And they've actually got little Solaris script text things over here. And somebody actually decided to go ahead and translate all of these. So let's see the first translation. Anomaly intensifying, dismantling, and disposal requested. These guys are literally taking out the trash. Wait, these guys are literally taking out the trash. What else they got here? Okay, another one. Another Solaris script. Let's see what this one says. Requesting and reboot by the Skyworks. I assume the Skyworks has to do with like the faction that's above ground, because these guys are obviously underneath the ground, right? Dealing with all the TDs that are getting... Yeah, this is basically just like a garbage dump. And they're the janitors. Okay. Now they got one more. And this bro is getting fucked up. Oh, he's dead. Bro, he stabbed him in the dick. Bro, literally, he stabbed him right in the dick. No, he's dead for sure. Bro, he's dead for sure. Look at that. I gotta see what the translation... Tell my parents I love them. Or tell my children I love them. Like, what is this dude saying? Colonel Anomaly. Permission to halt the operation. Yeah, that's fair. I'd ask to halt the operation too if my dick just got fucking... Yeah, no, Hey, justified. Justified. Halt the operation. Good lord, they did a close-up of it too. Nah, they knew that dude was getting fucked up. Okay, alright. So it looks like these little pods, they're not for the player, they're for the robots. So these little robots, right? We saw that, like, you could, like, traverse from island to island, right? In, like, the little things. It looks like the robots, they got their own as well. Okay, alright. So you can see there's, like, a manufacturing facility for them. This is looking a lot different from the initial teasers, right? So you got a mass production facility. And this is where stuff starts getting really, really, really cool. And guys... Remember what I said before about the whole, like, Metabots customizing your mech, doing all of this stuff? Kinda looks like it here. This makes me feel like we're gonna be able to, like, customize our own, like, mech companion. And then it can, like, follow us around or, like, be summoned. Maybe it's an Echo or something like that. Because look at this. You see, like, all of this sort of, like... laboratory equipment, all of that, the different modules and the parts, right? The different arms you might be able to put on. Will you be able to put on like different types of arms? Put like a laser cannon on them or some shit? Because guess what? Like, I feel like a lot of people, they'd be feeling some type of way about cyberware and stuff like that after Edge Runners. Maybe we won't be able to cybernetically modify Rover, but like, what if we can cybernetically modify our own little robot and then add, like, fucking lasers and shit on him? Right? Because this seems like a nice little segue right after. And you already know these dudes are going to be fighting TDs. Nice little seg after Edge Runners, right? Because I don't know how else to view how much time they're putting into this segment over here. Bro, it's like a full 20 seconds. Which in a 1 minute, 40-second trailer, 20 seconds is a lot. It's 20 seconds of them just showing off the architecture of the robots and, of course, the customizing and the building process. If this isn't, like, a pivotal big part of, like, the exploration, I guess, the story, our, like, own robot, bro, what the fuck are they even doing here? And then that's where it gets, like, a little bit menacing, right? Because he kind of does, like, this little red glowing shit, and you automatically assume this must mean danger. But, like, he kind of looks like an R2-D2, right? Like, bro looks like a little goofy. Bro looks a little goofy, even with the red eye. But maybe this also means he's getting, like, hacked by Fraxidus or some shit. Who knows? So, like, yeah, some Terminator shit. I guess we'll find out. And now this is kind of like the ending part of the showcase over here. I feel like this is the part most people were like actually looking forward to, because I think Kuro did a little bit of false advertising over here with this one. They decided to show the ending part as like the thumbnail. And I think most people looked at this and they were like, oh, we're gonna get like some badass shit about like Yangyang SP and like all the characters. No, it was literally just like the background lore. And, like, the exploration and, like, the maps and all of that. So this is what they end with. Kind of like war-torn. And I think the biggest part that stands out to me, this don't look like where we was. Where we was, it looked like they were almost in, like, a utopia, right? A, like, high-tech heaven. Most people would say, yeah, exactly like Wu Ling. But then now it looks like I'm actually in Where Winds Meet during, like, the first quest of the game. Where, like, your village gets burned down. Yeah, this feels like Where Winds Meets, like, first chapter. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, it actually does. Nowhere's no. That's not even a spoiler. Yeah, your whole family does. But this is where stuff gets a little bit interesting. The flames, like, disappear. And I want you to focus on the sword. It's all rusty and shit, right? the sword, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't even look rusty anymore. How does rust, like, disappear over time? I don't know. And so does this mean there's, like, time travel or some shit involved? Because how does the sword get less rusty? Or is this Yangyang's? Well, because she's Havoc Bane, maybe this is her forte. She makes, like, shit disappear. Or that was the future. Wait a second. Wait a second. Let me see. Or that was the future. No, no, no. It looks like stuff burned away. Like, why would the rock be smaller? No, like, the rock can't get bigger in the future. That's not how rocks work. This wouldn't get bigger in the future. So this is like, time has passed. Anyways, there's clearly, like, something weird going on with, like, time and stuff like that. Clearly there was a big passage of time or something going on over here. But the fact that the sword gets, like, less rusty as, like, Yangyang approaches probably has something to do with her forte. Because it looks like this is after the fact, and you would assume that the sword stays rusty and old. Does the sword have cloth? Yes. The cloth is never actually shown. But the sword is still rusty and has the cloth. And then the rust disappears. Like, you guys get what I'm saying. I feel like her forte is, like, cleansing this thing. And then maybe it's, like, cleansing the area. Who knows? But this is giving us a bit of a preview that I guess Yangyang Xuanfang might actually be, like, insanely fucking strong. Because, yes, I know, like, rust clearing sounds retarded as a power. But it's, like, I would imagine she can, like, cleanse more than that. So if you're, like, covered in, like, shit, like, literally, if you're covered in poo, I bet she could, like, clean you instantly. That's like what I imagine is going on over here. A lot of little lore previews, a lot of like little teasers in here. Now let's finish this one off. What else do we got? Okay, so she like picks it up. What else do we got going on over here? All right, now I guess she just ready to go. It looks like that's her sword then, which I guess adds even more questions. Why was her weapon just laying there, stuck in the ground during, like, I guess this war-torn time? And why did she come after the fact and I guess, like, pick it up again? I don't know what's... It's clearly a lot to look into over here, but we'll find out in version 3.5. So, yeah, that's gonna be this whole special record for Xuanfang over here. And like I said before, I think at like a first initial preview, this doesn't look as exciting as you would imagine. But when you consider that this is all a bit of like some hype, some lead up for the actual region itself and not necessarily the characters, I think that if you take both parts together, you really do end up getting a lot. Because I feel like both of these trailers only tell you one side of the story. Where this one is obviously showing you all of like the very vibrant, cool character designs, all of that, and it obviously gets you super hyped in the first place. While here it gives you a lot more flavor about what's actually going on behind the scenes, and I'm gonna be honest, it kind of gives like a way darker vibe. Like, bro, are these little dudes like enslaved? It can't be fun like getting this done to you like on a daily basis, right? What are, like, the ethics of, like, what's going on over here? Do the robots have, like, voices and personalities? Are they, like, do they have, like, sentience? And, like, do they like what they're doing over here? Like, are they cool with this? Are we getting into, like, AI ethics and that sort of stuff? Are they, like, dragoons? Oh, yeah, like, are they the past dead consciousnesses, right? Of, like, old Mengzhou Xuanfang citizens that have like been like weaponized and then turned into like sentient robots. And then of course, how's the Throne gonna play into probably weaponizing these guys and turning them into like an army against us? Because, well, what do you think the main conflict of this region is gonna be, guys? These robots probably end up getting corrupted and then, well, they turn against the city and we're gonna have to go find out, right, how to disable whatever's going on with them. And then we get a whole, you know, almost like a Star Wars level sort of plot going on. Is this going to be like Age of Ultron? Hopefully it's better than Age of Ultron, because Age of Ultron wasn't very good. But I can definitely see something a bit like Age of Ultron moving forward. Yeah, no, this is probably like some Tony Stark level motherfucker trying to like build a robot army to go deal with the Threnodians, just like that dumbass Tony was trying to like deal with Thanos. And then it's gonna backfire on them. It's gonna backfire on them. I can totally see what's going on, and I bet the dude that created these robots was Rover. I bet the dude that initially created these robots was Rover. Because as we all know, the Sentinel of this region is gonna be playable. And we all know that when it comes to Sentinels, Rover knew all of them. So yeah, we're probably gonna see all these robots kind of bite us in the ass. And knowing that we're the ones responsible for making these robots in the first place, right? Because of our link to the Sentinel, who's probably in charge of these, I feel like we're gonna get our own little dude. Nah, I really want one of my own little dudes now. No, this would be cool. This actually reminds me of like, you guys know like those little robots that people have nowadays? They're able to like walk and do some dumb shit. There was like this video of New York Knicks fans all lining up to like get their thoughts about like the game, like game 4 or game 3. And like one of these little robots got on the camera and he was just like, fuck Trae Young. Trae Young wasn't even playing in these last NBA finals. But the little robot, he was just like, fuck Trae Young. Just right in the middle of it. And ever since then, I've been like, dude, I kind of want one of those. And it looks like I'll be able to get it in Wuwa. So yeah, that'll be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all thought. I'm actually a lot more hyped now after we've done a little bit of this analysis over here. And peace out.